interesting. Um, she had planned a trip to California to visit her niece and brother, and about a week before that, we went to lunch one day. I worked from home, and we tried to do stuff every now and then, but this was Wednesday, the week before she flew out, and we went to lunch that day, and we went to Barcelona, Weston. Had lunch, sat at the bar. It was a little bit of an edgy lunch. I don't know what happened there exactly, but we ended up in an argument of some sort. And she got up, grabbed her stuff, walked out. I still had to pay the bill, and I did. And then I walked out in a complete fury, angry, and I found her and I was like, don't ever walk out on me when I'm paying for your lunch ever fucking again.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, really brutal. The problem was that I didn't like getting walked out on.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going on inside of me. We got in our car, M4, hauled ass down to the Fairfax County Parkway, and we pretty much kicked her out of the car, or almost did. Opened the door, went to kick her out.
Of a moving car?
Yeah, we're at the red light, moved in a little bit. It's more the mental state of being where I was at. But it was a brief moment because I pulled myself back in and I was like, fuck, shit, I'm so sorry. Like,
I fucked up.
I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna stop now. I'm gonna be quiet and shut the fuck up because I don't know what's going on. I don't know how we got here. We went out to lunch 2 hours ago, everything was great. Now it's horrible.
This all just happened so fast.
Yeah. We didn't really talk for the next week. I mean, we talked about life and the kids and this, that, and the other, but we didn't bring up that event. Exactly a week later was Wednesday morning, and we got the kids out to school. I went into my office and worked for a little bit. Came out around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I was like, hey, babe, you want to go to lunch today? And this was the first time we had talked about anything since the week before. She said, yeah, sure, let's do it. What I didn't know at that point is that she ended up canceling a lunch date she had with somebody else to go have lunch with me. Over the next 2 hours, ended up getting slammed in the office. Contracts for a couple projects that I desperately needed or thought I needed rolled in. Got really busy, and around 11 o'clock I went out and I was like, hey, sorry, I don't think I'm gonna make it today. She said, yeah, all right, I get it. Like, I know you're busy.
Always.
I know
always
what's going
understanding.
on. Class and grace.
Gravitas.
The next half hour, I haven't squirmed so hard in my life. Sat in my chair. I was uneasy, couldn't figure out what was going on. I was just like agitated. And finally at 11:30, I jumped up and I walked out of my office. I walked into the living room, stood in front of the fireplace, and I was like, fuck it, let's go. And I said, if there's one regret in life I want, it's leaving work for you, not you for work. Because you never know when it's the last lunch you'll ever have. And we jumped in the M4, which at that point didn't matter because we were going together. Went down to Leesburg, went to the wine kitchen, our favorite place, had a 2-hour lunch, favorite bottle of wine. And we didn't even talk about the week before. We just said it doesn't really matter because we know what we have. Went home, had a great afternoon and evening, and dropped her off at Dulles at 5:30 the next morning. As beautiful as that was, well, when I dropped her off at Dulles, I almost got arrested because the cops kept telling me to move the car and I wouldn't because we were out on the curb making out.
They're relentless, dude. They don't.
And I was like, dude, it's 5:30 in the morning.
There's nobody
like,
here.
It really doesn't
They
matter.
don't care, dude. They're so relentless.
So the night before, she had asked me about going to see the person that she was in this long-term relationship with.
How long had they been split up?
A couple of years.
Wow.
She wanted to go over there to see him.
She was going there and he lives in California.
She was going there anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
She wasn't really asking for permission. She was kind of letting you know what's going down.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
she asked me if I minded if she saw him while she was out there.
Oh, okay.
She hadn't contacted him or anything.
Right.
And I said,
Oh, she hadn't been in contact with him for like years.
Years.
And okay.
no, off and on, but I knew about whatever it was. It
Okay.
was pretty
Oh,
open.
what you're saying is you knew about it. Like
Yeah.
you knew.
Okay.
And she was like, hey, what do you think about me seeing him while I'm out there? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I guess we still, and I told her that I might see somebody on Saturday. So we made arrangements and yeah, she flew out and I ended up seeing him, spent Friday night with him, Santa Cruz, and at a resort out there. And Saturday I met some girl and we went to wineries and fucked in the vineyards all day. And I was texting Abby about it, like we had this like really, like our open relationship or whatever it was in touch at that point. And Saturday I guess, was we were at the vineyards and the wineries and she had seen the guy Friday night and spent the night with him and then was going to see her brother on Saturday morning and spend the weekend with him. On Saturday, my daughter had a field trip at school. So I took her, dropped her off, or her friends took her to the thing and I was gonna pick her up later. Anyway, around 1 a.m., 12:30, 1 o'clock Eastern time, midnight, I drove to pick up my daughter from school and I called Abby and we talked for like half an hour while I was driving out to the school and just telling me they were getting ready to go out for the evening and I was like, yeah, I'm picking up Shara and headed home and kids are good, can't wait to see you tomorrow. And then I got to the school and conversation ended. I picked up Kashara and I remember I texted her and I was like, damn, I had like, I don't know how many school buses just showed up and unloaded at 1:30 in the morning with middle school kids. This is like really bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was a new experience for my daughter, it was also for me. And I said, bye, I love you. See you tomorrow. And then we texted, like our goodbye texts were always, I love you, be safe. Like when I traveled for work, no matter what, we always said that to each other. And I went home, took my daughter, went to bed. I woke up around 5 o'clock and dog was starting to wake up and I kind of laid there for a little bit, slept, and ended up getting up around 5:45. And I like grabbed my phone at 5:45 to take the dog out and looked down and there was no text from her. But the dog had started getting really antsy, freaking out, like really antsy, like howling, running around. And I was like, dude, what's the problem? Like, there's no bears out there or something attacking the house, but he was German Shepherd, highly protected breed. I made the decision not to freak out at that moment, even though I made the conscious decision. I was like, we always text each other. Phone must have been dead or something. Like, there's a legit reason. But I was worried. And I took the dog out, took a walk, thought about when she was going to get home, thought about moving forward, thought about the week before and how bad things were, how good they were in a short period of time. Why are the dynamics like this? How do we move forward? What's the best thing? We had talked about separation, we had talked about divorce. Are we better separate? Are we better together? What do we do here? Like, we had these like legitimate conversations. My oldest son had spent the night out at a friend's house a couple miles away. And around 11 o'clock he texted me and asked me to come over and pick him up. Around 11:10, 11:15, I texted him and was like, hey, I'm leaving now, I'll come pick you up. I drove down the dirt road, up our driveway, turned on the dirt road, Old Waterford Road, started driving toward Waterford. And I asked myself, what if things really aren't okay? And in the middle of that question, my phone rang. And it was her dad. And I knew there was only one reason that her dad was calling me. And it wasn't good. He asked me if I was driving. I said yes, and he said, you should pull over. I debated in that moment whether I should speed up and slam into a tree and let fate handle itself. But I pulled over. And then he told me that there had been an accident and she was dead. I didn't hear anything after that or before it. Still an echo resounding kind of in the back of my mind that makes its way forward every now and then.
What happened to your wife?
Yeah, what did happen?
She had gone out with her brother and a few friends that night.
Quick question. Were her siblings part of the community as well, the group?
When we left, one of her younger brothers had left, and she was the second one, and then shortly after, the brother that she had gone out to see in California left. He lived with us for a little bit.
Okay. And he lived in San Francisco?
Yeah, North Bay area, Santa
Okay.
Rosa. So, the short part is they went out for the night and they ended up driving home, and he had had a lot more drinks than anyone realized. There was a single car crash where he went around a corner at double the speed limit, and she died on impact and he crawled out.
He lived?
Yeah. He got charged with second-degree murder because of all the previous DUIs, etc. Nobody really knew about.
Jesus Christ.
We found a lot of information during the trial.
He's in prison?
Yeah. What is he serving?
10.
He's only serving 10 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you forgive him?
Have you even thought about forgiving him?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I've thought about it. I don't hold resentment.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Like
You don't-
current state of being, I don't hold that resentment. Yet I also don't know. I'm very aware of the fact that if I place the blame somewhere and I hold the resentment, I'm the only one who loses.
If you hold on to that,
I also don't know that I will ever talk to him again
Yeah. No.
with
Right.
anything other than a middle finger.
Either way.
That's yet to be determined.
so your wife passed away.
That must have been hard on the family. Yeah.
Yeah. I drove up to the house where my son was. I texted him and said, hey, I'm here. He said, come in, have breakfast. We have pancakes for you. And I was like, no, get out to the car now.
Yeah. I don't want no fucking pancakes.
He didn't know.
That's all I said. When he got out to the car, I had shattered the windshield from my head slamming into the windshield of the truck.
You what?
No.
I shattered the windshield.
Of your truck with your own head?
With his own head. Jesus Christ. Out of anger, out of
Anguish.
frustration,
Anguish.
grief, sadness,
Just
No, it was all-
inflict as
it was
much
anguish.
damage.
anguish,
on your-
I didn't know. I just
pure anguish.
smashed and he
I
got
know,
in.
dude, that's like being
I was
ripped.
screaming my head off.
Hysterical.
Oh yeah.
Beyond hysterical. Yeah, hysterical.
Like pure
All-
chaotic hysteria.
Yeah, like fucking reality is melting. Like your fucking heart has been ripped out of your chest and you're no longer
The same.
living.
Yeah.
You're like,
You can try to find words to describe
Yeah,
it, but
you're
there
right.
really aren't any.
No. And we'll leave it at that.
The two of us made our way back to the house, kind of driving together, bumping into trees, bridges, fences. When we walked in the door, we collapsed in the entryway. And my daughter walked to the top of the stairs and she said he was drunk, wasn't he?
which daughter?
My oldest.
She said he was drunk, wasn't he?
Clearly inferring
Yes.
her brother.
At that point, I didn't know anything.
Oh, at that
She
point you
knew-
didn't. She knew before you
more
even did.
information about him than I knew.
Oh man.
But it all came
Oh, yeah.
haunting. We did the whole,
During
well,
the court
within
case,
2 hours, half of this Percival and Waterford showed up at our house, and there's nothing you can do to console somebody or help anything. It's
I'm a firm
dismal.
believer of that as well.
Yeah. It's something you gotta work through yourself.
Yeah, you can.
Nothing anyone says or does, or
It's your own
because I
journey.
can relate to the loss of my mother. There's nothing, and no matter, it could be your best friend, your blood brother, your sister looking you dead in the face crying. It doesn't matter. You just,
Being there is always something. I'll do
There's
as
nothing they
much
can
as
say
I
to
can
console
for
you.
people, but most of the time it's, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
Because you'll need someone to lean on, but
When
you
you
gotta.
need
mm,
a place to drop your shit and lose your shit, I'm here.
That's fine.
I know. I got the deep stuff. Like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like, when everyone else is quaking,
Unshakable.
you got me.
unshakable. Yeah.
Unshakable.
The next year was a daze.
Yeah.
Complete daze.
Just wanna you
I was
have 4 kids, right?
groundless, entirely groundless. She was the only grounding that I had whatsoever of any sense
For the
and
word.
any
Yeah.
imagination.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of people. People showed up right and left. I was starving for attention. I was starving for connection. What I was looking for with her, what I was looking for with everybody else, all came in this complete implosion. And yeah, it got really chaotic, wild inside. I had no concept of really much of anything. Tried to be there for my kids. I was a tyrant. Tried to hold everything together. Trying to figure shit out. It wasn't working. Didn't work. Didn't happen. I was meeting girls all over the place, doing anything, trying to find some
Trying to
sort
fill
of
that void, that gap.
not the void between her and I.
No,
It was
no,
the gap that I had inside.
That's what I'm saying.
That I was still
gap.
looking
Well,
for.
the gap
Yeah.
had become a black hole.
Yeah.
It was swallowing you.
That's exactly what it was. It was a black hole.
I wasn't saying the gap between you and her. I was saying the gap in you.
But it
Yes.
started as this thing which was a missing link in your identity, or perhaps a couple, and it always persisted through
The pieces.
through line of your
Yeah.
It
life.
starts as an identity, and then it carries on in your relationships, whichever ones you have.
Yeah.
Which played out.
Right.
And there's some poor people that I met that were like really nice women, girls during that time, and I was a train wreck.
Yeah. I can relate.
Complete train
I
wreck.
can fucking relate. I think
During the
dig
next
into-
year, different things happened. We had some epic parties at our house. My oldest was 14, 15, running back on the football team, fairly popular. Our house was the place to be.
Yeah, you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
There was some epic parties that I came home to, had no idea
For, like,
what
high
was
school
going
kids.
on.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going on. I had never been to high school. I didn't know how to govern or monitor anything.
Yeah.
I was trying to let stuff happen and
Be responsible.
No.
be responsible
really?
at the same time. Is really convoluted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Convoluted is
Yeah.
the word that adds it all up.
and it's
Some
It's a really good word.
it's
fucking
really bad.
shit went down during that time. My daughter got raped at a party.
Your eldest?
Yeah.
Jesus.
We didn't even
Fuck,
know
dude.
what to do at that point, like how to charge the kid. She's going to school with a kid.
Fuck.
I didn't even know, like, the wherewithal to know what was going on or how to deal with it or what
Like
to
you said
do.
it before, you didn't know how to govern it at all.
Or how to pick up the pieces that were falling faster than I could count them.
Yeah. You were just incinerating, like just
In the meantime, my younger daughter
dwindling away.
was dealing
Disintegrate.
with a eating disorder. I put everything into her to help her. Therapy. She was in and out of hospitals, mental hospitals. I tried, did everything. I knew at that point. The one thing I didn't do, I wasn't there for myself, so I couldn't fucking be there for them. I was still there, but I was this hollow shell. She knew it somehow, because pretty sure she's been around a few times before, and this isn't her first rodeo. But we had gone, it was almost a year after my wife had passed, and it started getting to the point of thinking, wow, we've survived a year. I don't know how, but we fucking survived.
Now you know.
And one night I decided to have family dinner. I grilled, made some, I don't know, steak beds or something, and vegetables, and brought it in, and tried to get everyone in the house and all sit down at the table. And middle of the table, my younger daughter, as he wouldn't eat, didn't want to eat. Everybody started yelling at her, asking her if she understood what she was doing to the family, why she was making it so hard. It was like, can you just goddamn eat your food? Like, we have enough shit going on, can you just please eat? Like, we don't need this too. She said some stuff. She got up from the table and walked out, and she said, I'm going to my room because clearly this family would be better off without me. And I thought letter, she brought down a card. She wrote some stuff in it. She said, I didn't mean what I said there. We talked for about an hour. Then she got up and left. Gave her a hug, told her I loved her. She told me the same. We were really good friends. Her brother came in. She went out to talk to her older brother. They went off. I ended up going to bed later. I got up in the morning. I had an 8 o'clock meeting with a CPA, trying to pick up the pieces from my collapsed business. Everything that had gone wrong on that side. I went to wake up the kids. My older daughter was awake. My younger son was. My older son lived in the basement, had his own space. I went to wake Essie up. And she was in bed. In a puddle of vomit that was all orange. I went and grabbed her older sister. Thought she had drank a bunch of grapefruit shandies. So I picked her up, carried her into the bathtub, pulled her sheets off, we cleaned her. But she wasn't responsive. I was numb. Thought she was drunk out of her mind. Put her back in bed, kept her sister from school. I drove to Fairfax to meet with the accountant. Talked to him about it a little bit. Around 11:30, Shar texted me and said, as he's not waking up, I think something's wrong. I drove home and I realized something was wrong. Really wrong. Hudson called. They showed up. Said this isn't alcohol. Far from it. Two days later, we're in the ICU in Fairfax. There's been no response. There's up and downs. Mostly downs. They had done more than was ever warranted. It was Wednesday morning when we found her. Friday morning, the rounds in Fairfax. Doctor came through. This new ICU doc. Head of the floor. And he said, you need to talk to everybody. And stepped out. And I walked out of the room and I said, no, there's no more talking without me. I'm involved with everything from this point. I know everything. So don't say anything behind my back. Everyone looked at each other nervously. His key card tag had a Red Sox band on it. Lanyard. I looked at him and I was like, if that was Yankees, I wouldn't trust you. Everybody got like really weird and awkward and nervous when I said that. And he was like, dude, the Red Sox rule. It was a small moment. But it was one that I needed. Because it was the fucking Yankees, I wouldn't have been able to handle that. Small thing meant a lot. Day went by. I knew we were coming. It was close. She'd been in a coma, there wasn't much response, there was some small. Nurses came in at 7 o'clock, 6:37 p.m. for the night shift. The two came into my room. They walked in, and I was like, I introduced myself instead of them. And I said, hi, I'm Jason. Are you okay with being with me when my daughter passes tonight? And they said, yes, that's why we're here, because we're the only two that's okay with that. And nobody else could handle it. I went out, took a long walk. I knew they meant what they said. I don't know their names. I know what they look like. I've met one of them again. Came back a few hours later, took a nap. One of Abby's best friends came in for the evening, sat with Azzy. I knew it was going to be a long night, and I knew I needed, if nothing else, I needed fortitude. I needed to fucking have my wits with me. In that moment, if I hadn't had it at any time before. Around 12 o'clock, the head doc of the floor and resident came in. She said, you know, we're getting it right. I said, yeah. I signed all the DNR papers. I told her I wanted peace, and that I wanted everyone to do exactly as I said when I said it, because it was, I said that, and she said, yeah, it'll happen, as you say it. Around 1 o'clock, I went in, sat down with her. And I listened to her. And all I heard her say was, Dad, I've asked you to let go for a long time. I need you to start letting go. And this is it. I picked her up in the bed and I put her in my lap. And I asked everyone to leave except the new nurses that had said they were willing to be there, and that's why they were there. Told the doctors to leave. And the beeps went to a flat line. I told them to unplug and turn everything off and turn the lights off. I turned on her favorite song. I held her and listened to her heartbeat, the last one, the last breath. As Oblivion by Bastille played. The nurses pulled their eyes out. I did too. And then I promised her that I would start letting go. Life's taken some turns since then.
Can I ask you a question? What did she think? What did she die of?
She took 500 ibuprofen from the drugstore.
Wow.
Jason. It's very unusual for us to be left speechless on this show.
Or bewildered.
Just absolutely just floored. And this story that you've just told us and all the stories, and I had, that I just want everybody to know that that's actually how I met you. And it was one of the first stories you ever asked me or told me about. It was all about a bracelet that I wear, and it says "fuck cancer," and it's actually a bracelet my co-host Tyler Schedule gave me because his mom died of cancer after a 6-year battle. And I wear that, and it's people ask me about it all the time, and you asked me about it, and you told me more or less about the same story that you just shared with us about your daughter, and that was the very first thing I ever knew about what you were going with. And Jason, it moved me as much then as it did right now, probably more this time, because I know you a little bit better. And
I had never heard that before.
I'm really sorry for your loss.
Yeah, dude, that's...
And I wouldn't apologize willy-nilly.
No.
For so many of those things. And it's really deeply a tragedy what happened with your youngest daughter.
Yeah.
You know what isn't, though, is that humanity has this beautiful means of responding to tragedy.
Oh, yeah. Bouncing back.
Like
we get
an
glimpses
organism
of
healing
it.
itself.
Exactly.
We come together in moments of tragedy,
Yeah.
both outside of ourselves and within ourselves. We come to moments of clarity. Utter
True
despair.
clarity. True clarity.
Utter despair brings us, or can, to beautiful places.
Unfortunately, it can. Yes.
But there's a beauty
But
in
we
that.
can
But there
take
is. Yeah, you can take it.
the pain and suffering that's grouped up within one's soul, can turn them inward and disillusionless forever, or their deepest compassion can be ignited and come out.
Wow.
And they can become a completely different person for the better of humanity.
Do you still believe in the beauty of life even after losing two of your
Two.
biggest anchors? Your wife and your youngest daughter, who was a lot like
Your
wife.
wife. You still believe in it?
I'm here for a reason,
I believe that.
and I won't let them down for that reason. But more than that, it's about me, it's not about them. Yet they give me inspiration through who they were.
Absolutely.
I could struggle to be here for them and live for them and never come to who I am in myself. All they wanted, both my wife and my daughter, was me to be who I was. My wife desperately sought for it. My daughter said, just let go, just let go.
They just loved you so much. They just wanted you
All
to
they
be-
wanted me was to love myself
Yeah.
and to be okay with who I was, and that's what I wasn't. But I am now.
You have, through these tragedies and these just horrific events in your life, it has shaped you, even when you weren't realizing it, through that year of your wife passing. These tragedies, they were molding you. And it seems like, I mean, at least in my viewpoint, it has turned you into
If you didn't,
the person that you have been trying to achieve.
yeah. If you didn't, I haven't asked you yet, but if you didn't believe in your own self-worth,
You wouldn't
you
still be
wouldn't.
alive.
Yeah, you wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't make it.
You
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
have-
be having this conversation.
So there's two reasons I struggled after my daughter passed with wanting to be alive myself, or a reason. I have 3 children. that I live for. But I've come to learn that it doesn't mean anything to live for them and not be here for myself. That's the first thing.
Wow.
And until I'm here for me and present with myself and okay with myself, I would never be okay with anything outside of myself, and starting with my children. I've been fortunate enough to have stumbled upon paths that have led me, I would say, to greater places, but all that really is just being okay with who I fucking am.
Exactly.
Inside,
At the end
which
of the
is
day.
really all who I was looking for. You can fucking criticize me and a lot of decisions I've made. It's available. All the pot shots are there.
Yeah. Throw the shots at me.
We learn life by living life, and it really sucks that it's that way.
Yeah.
And for some people it happens really fucking differently than other people. And you know what? We don't get the fucking choice of what happens where, but we do get the choice of what happens now and what we do with what we have now. And that's what I'm willing to deal with. And that's what I aspire to do and to be, is here now with what I have now. Yet, the fortitude of some of that comes from the people that have loved me the most that are here now.
Wow.
It adds to me and it gives me inspiration, but it's not who I am. Who I am was everything. I just didn't know it before. All of the shit happened. I don't know why the shit happened, but it did. And I can't change that. But I can be an awesome person when I walk out of the door today and greet people. And I can be a different person when I drive down the highway, and I can smile at people instead of giving them the fucking middle finger when they cut in front of me. And I can look at somebody in Starbucks and smile at them, or I can pay for a drink, or I can be at the grocery store and wave at a little baby in the stroller, even though my daughter says I'm a creep. You can do things that make other people's lives happy. You can do things that are okay with you. And ultimately, the best thing you can really do is just fucking be you.
Jason, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, man. I mean, you're a strong dude, and we already knew this. But the adversity that you've been through is, like, I can't even wrap my brain around it, honestly. And the dude that I'm sitting to next to right now, you, man, I mean, the fact that you're still alive through all of this and have this new outlook on life is really fucking impressive.
Profound.
I just really wanted to say that.
It's profound.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, Jason, you know, what you just shared with our audience and what you share with us is the very foundation of this show. It's one of the reasons why I ended up wanting to create this show, and Tyler and I did. After I told him what I had learned from a guy that I met a year and a half ago on a snowy day at my bar, and some of the story that he told me, and I told him that there were more of these stories out there, and they exist, and they need to have a platform, and they need to be shared, and people need to be made aware of the elements that play in our lives and the way they play out. It's important. Storytelling is important for a reason. But Jason, did you enjoy coming on the show today?
Did you enjoy it?
Did
you enjoy it?
Absolutely. This
Good.
is something that Dave, you and I have talked about for quite a while.
Yeah.
I've considered about how much to open. I've really made a conscious choice that this is something that I want to do, I need to do. And in my path forward, owning who I am, who I was, and who I will be is all a part of who I am today.
I couldn't say it any better, brother.
I couldn't either. Any of it.
All right.
Well, folks, as always, thank you for joining us. And my name is Whiskey Dave.
My name is Double Agent Skidge. Stay frosty, stay sharp, but most importantly,
Stay
stay
intangible.
intangible.